Stop digging holes and throwing manure into them, because that habit is quietly ruining your soil. Most gardeners think they're feeding their plants by burying raw manure in pockets, but what they're actually doing is creating nutrient hotspots, burning roots, and starving the rest of the bed. If your plants look uneven, weak in some spots, and overly leafy in others, this is often why. What's worse is that buried manure doesn't break down evenly. It locks up nitrogen, overheats in concentrated zones, and can even attract pests underground. You end up with soil that looks rich but performs poorly. Now, before we go deeper into the fix, there's one tool that made this whole process easier and more consistent for me. I use a 4-litre electric countertop composter to pre-process kitchen waste into a stable, odorless material that blends perfectly into soil layers. It solves the problem of inconsistent decomposition and bad smells indoors, especially if you don't have space for a full compost pile. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out. But even without it, the method I'm about to show you will change how your soil behaves. And yes, if you're serious about getting real results from your garden, hit subscribe now, because this is the kind of information most people only learn after years of trial and error. So here's what actually works instead of digging holes. The real secret is layering, not burying. When you layer manure properly, you control how nutrients move through the soil. Instead of dumping everything in one place, you create a slow-release system that feeds roots evenly over time. This is how productive soils behave in nature. Nothing gets buried in chunks. Everything breaks down in thin, balanced layers. In a raised bed, for example, I never dig deep holes anymore. I start by loosening the top 10 to 15 centimeters of soil, not turning it completely, just opening it up. Then I add a thin layer of aged manure, about 1 to 2 centimeters thick, not more. This is where most people go wrong. They think more manure equals more growth. It doesn't. It usually equals nutrient imbalance. After that manure layer, I add a carbon layer. This can be dry leaves, shredded paper, or even fine wood chips, about the same thickness as the manure. This balances the nitrogen and prevents that sharp ammonia effect that burns roots. Then I lightly mix just the top few centimeters, not the whole bed. You're not trying to homogenize everything, you're creating a gradient. Roots will naturally grow through these layers and access nutrients as they need them. This is where things start to get interesting, because once you understand layering, you can control plant behavior. If you want leafy growth, like in spinach or kale, you slightly increase the nitrogen layer near the surface. If you want stronger root crops like carrots or beets, you keep the nitrogen lower and focus more on balanced layers deeper down. This isn't theory. You'll actually see the difference in plant structure within weeks. Now, here's something most gardeners don't realize until it's too late. Fresh manure is not your friend. Even if you're layering, fresh manure can still cause problems. It heats up, it releases ammonia, and it can carry pathogens. I've tested this in both open beds and controlled hydroponic systems, and the result is always the same unstable growth. That's why pre-processing matters. If you're using animal manure, it needs to be aged properly. Dark, crumbly, and earthy smelling. Not wet, not sticky, and definitely not sharp smelling. If you're using kitchen waste, it needs to be broken down into a stable form before it goes anywhere near your plants. That's where tools like the countertop composter really shine, because they speed up that stabilization process. Now let's talk about timing, because this is where the real gains happen. Layering isn't just about what you add, it's about when you add it. If you're preparing a bed before planting, layering should happen at least 2 to 3 weeks in advance. This gives microbes time to start breaking things down and stabilizing nutrients. If you plant immediately after layering, you risk nutrient lockout or root stress. But if you're feeding an already growing garden, the approach changes. You don't disturb the soil deeply. Instead, you add ultra-thin layers on the surface, almost like dusting. Then you water it in. Over time, these layers build up and integrate naturally. This is how you maintain soil health without shocking your plants. And here's the part most people overlook completely. Watering interacts with your layers. If you water too heavily right after layering, you wash nutrients too deep, beyond the reach of young roots. If you water too lightly, decomposition slows down. What you want is consistent moisture, not saturation. Think of it as keeping the soil active, not flooded. In my own beds, I aim for soil that holds shape when squeezed but doesn't drip water. That's the sweet spot where microbes thrive and layers break down efficiently. Now let's connect this to real results. When you layer properly, you'll notice your soil texture changes first. It becomes softer, more crumbly, easier to work with. Then your plants respond. Leaves get thicker, stems get stronger, and growth becomes more uniform across the bed. You won't see those random weak patches anymore. And if you're growing in containers, this method becomes even more powerful. Containers are limited systems. Every mistake is amplified. If you dump manure into a container, you can ruin the entire root zone. But if you layer lightly and consistently, you create a controlled environment where nutrients are always available, but never overwhelming. In hydroponics, the principle is similar, even though the medium is different. You're still managing nutrient distribution over time. Instead of physical layers, you're adjusting nutrient concentration in the water. But the idea remains: avoid spikes, aim for balance. Now here's a small adjustment that makes a huge difference. Particle size matters. Fine materials break down faster. Coarse materials break down slower. If you want quick results, use finer manure and carbon materials. If you want long-term soil building, include some coarser textures. I usually combine both. Fine material for immediate feeding, coarse material for structure over time. This creates a system that keeps improving instead of degrading. And one more thing that might surprise you: you don't need massive amounts of manure. Most productive beds I've worked on use less manure than people expect. It's not about quantity, it's about placement and balance. A thin, well-placed layer will outperform a thick, poorly placed one every time. So if your instinct is to add more, pause and adjust your layering instead. By now, you can probably see why digging holes and dumping manure doesn't hold up. It's inconsistent, inefficient, and often harmful in the long run. Layering gives you control. It lets you guide how nutrients move, how roots grow, and how soil evolves over time. And once you get it right, your garden becomes easier to manage, not harder. That's the goal. Not just growing plants, but building a system that works with you. If you found this useful, subscribe and share this with someone who's still digging holes and wondering why their soil isn't improving, because once you understand how soil actually functions, everything else in gardening starts to make more sense.